Hey everyone, Nick here and welcome back to GamerTube, and welcome back to our Poppy Playtime character concept series. So in today's video, the character looking into is Nightmare Kissy Missy. So we'll go through this character's backstory, gameplay mechanics, and all that good stuff as well. But before doing any of that, do be sure to leave a like and subscribe as it helps a lot and it's greatly appreciated. It also keeps you up to date with all the videos that we post. As always, I will just state that this story is not linked with the overall universe and lore of Poppy Playtime. This is just a fun, what-if scenario and a cool creepy story we get to tell, and we hope you enjoy. Alrighty, well, with that all out of the way, let's get into the character concept of Nightmare Kissy Missy. So, previously in our Poppy Playtime character concept series, we've looked into the nightmarish illusions the red gas can make. In our last video, the player came face to face with Nightmare Dog Day. This creepy, nightmarish version would stop at nothing to attack the player, but luckily our main protagonist found themselves the yellow grab hand. This hand in particular can transform into a special vacuum. It sucks in the gas and filters it back out as regular air. With this new tool, the player was able to fight back and keep Nightmare Dog Day at bay. Eventually, the player turned on the air filtration system and completely purged this area of all the red gas. When the gas cleared, it was revealed to be just a regular Smiling Critter toy. Finally, the player could move on and get to the next area, but they would soon realise it wasn't over just yet. There was more gas floating around in these new areas, and more nightmares would soon occur. Speaking of, let's get into our next nightmare character. So in chapter 3, we see a nightmare version of Huggy Wuggy. He bursts out of a TV screen and chases down the player. And since there's a nightmare version of Huggy Wuggy, it begs to ask the question, what if there was a nightmare version of Kissy Missy? In the end of chapter 3, something happens to Kissy Missy. It seems that she is attacked by a mysterious character, but unfortunately the player and Poppy don't know what happened to her. As to who attacked her is unknown, and the player will have to continue forward not knowing what happened to poor Kissy Missy. But little do they know, they were going to see her once again, but this wouldn't really be her. It would in fact be another nightmare illusion. And as to if they'll survive this encounter is another question altogether. So now we return back to the player. After making their way forward, they arrive in the new area. This place looks familiar to the Playcare orphanage. In fact, they don't know how or when their surroundings changed to this different interior, but all they were focused on was finding Poppy and completing their mission. As they walk around this area, they notice something quite strange. There's an awful lot of old television sets laying around. They didn't know where they've come from, and it seems like whenever they look away, more and more of them appear. The player knows exactly what happened last time they approached a television screen. The nightmare version of Huggy Wuggy crawled out and got them. They weren't about to let this happen again, so they steer clear. But as they turn around, one of the television sets has manifested right behind them. It switches on, and they're already too late. Out of the TV crawls the nightmare version of Kissy Missy. Could this really be happening? The player hasn't even re-encountered any of the red gas in this area, but it must be an illusion. She stands up and walks towards the player. Just like Nightmare Huggy Wuggy, her eyes are dark and hollow, and her mouth is filled with razor-sharp teeth. The player tries using their vacuum hand, but there's no effect to Nightmare Kissy Missy. So the player makes a break for it before they get attacked. Kissy Missy follows suit and chases after them. The player needs to quickly find another room they can hide in. Eventually they find an unlocked door and rush in. But little do they know, it was filled with old televisions. They all turn on and the player has to act quickly. They need to look at the TV screens and strike the ones where Kissy's face appears. This would force her to move to another TV and stop her from crawling out. If the player takes too long, then she'll jump out and get them. After striking the correct TV screens, eventually they all turn off. They walk back out into the hallway and try to find the exit once again. The moment they do, another TV manifests and Kissy Missy crawls out once again. The chase was back on and the player once again needs to run for their life. If they slow down or stop running at any point, then Nightmare Kissy would surely get them. After running through all the corridors and desperately trying to get away, they lock themselves in another room. And this is where they find out where the gas is coming from in this area. It was leaking out of a crack in the wall and seeping into the air vents. It was only a small amount, But over time, this area was filled with a thin veil of gas that could hardly be seen. So the player uses the vacuum hand to suck up all the gas that's leaking from the wall. It would take a little while, but eventually wherever it was coming from on the other side of the wall was completely empty now. It would take some time, but eventually all the gas in the area will settle and clear up. So that means the player's nightmare vision of Kissy Missy is still outside lurking in the halls. They walk out once again and try to find the exit. Now that the source of the gas leak was done, the vacuum hand would once again be effective. So with it armed at the ready, the player can take on Nightmare Kissy Missy. As she exits from another TV screen, the player can quickly vacuum her up as she fades away. So they would need to be quick and do this every time she starts to crawl out of the TV. But it would only work in the small amount of time when she's halfway out of the TV screen. Once she's fully out, it would be too late. So the player moves forward and quickly vacuums every attempt Kissy makes to appear. Eventually they find the exit and now they can get out of here. The moment they exit through the door, their surroundings completely changed. It seems like the thin layer of wafting gas has finally dissipated. Now they can continue forward and hopefully find Poppy. But where she is and what horrors they'll face next is unknown. And as to what happens next, we'll just have to wait and see. So I think the idea of Nightmare Kissy Missy would definitely be interesting. Seeing as we never encounter Kissy Missy as a hostile character in the original game, this would be a great chance for the players to experience what it would be like to run from Kissy Missy as an antagonistic character. The Nightmare version of Huggy Wuggy certainly looks creepy, and I think a similar version with Nightmare Kissy Missy would totally make sense. But for our unfortunate main protagonist, none of this makes sense, and their nightmare/visions are far from over. Alrighty everyone, well that's all we have for today's video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please consider leaving a like, commenting and subscribing, as it helps a lot and it's greatly appreciated. As always, let me know in the comment section down below what you thought of Nightmare Kissy Missy and what you'd like to see going forward. Also, I just want to thank you all for tuning in and watching, and also a big thank you to our members who help support the channel. If you would like to become a member as well, then all you have to do is click the link down below on our video or the join button as well. You can get a whole bunch of cool awesome perks and also have your name featured at the start of our videos. But as always, you don't need to be a member to watch and enjoy our content, it's only if you want to support us that little extra bit. Alrighty everyone, well thanks for watching, and until our next Poppy Playtime character concept video, I'll catch you later, bye.